All right, good morning. How is everybody today? We are all set and doing well. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Welcome to Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is September 8th, 2021. Quick look across some of the activity from yesterday before we get into some of the more major topics. We'll start off today a little bit with bonds. Notably the TLT as a proxy. We've seen a bit of, I would say, move away from a technical pattern inside of bonds. And that's, of course, this pennant structure called trading range for the TLT. Now, we started to see this activity yesterday, and in the form of the TNX for the 10-year interest rate, we did see a spike high on yesterday's session, closing close to a previous swing high. Moving into yesterday's trading and using our normal approach to higher interest rates often have positive correlations to certain sectors. One of the focuses on yesterday's session was the financials. Now, what's interesting is that we're seeing some, I would say, improved price action inside of the bond market, and the interest rates are responding, but we are not seeing the same correlative effects, at least in the short term, with our normal sectors. Financials actually closing weak on the session, having a full bearish trend day to the downside. That's also true for other sectors, notably industrials, not only with a weak overall session, but also seeing a breakdown structure in the form of its sort of weaker trend throughout the trading range. And notably, with energy being our laggard, we had crude and other assets such as natural gas pulling back on the session. And that, of course, combined with this lack of correlation with bonds, did not see any improvement in the energy sector outside of maybe one or two stocks. Now, notably with the way we use the financial ETF, we want to note that certain stocks hold a more heavy weighting inside of these ETFs than others. And although the entire financial sector did not necessarily give us upside with our rates higher, financials higher approach, Berkshire Hathaway happens to be one of the larger components of the XLF, and it has been in I would say, a technical posture of weakness for a period of a few sessions. We actually saw selling as of last week, and that selling continued into yesterday's session. So amidst that, we look across some of our other major sectors for the S&P, and we note that healthcare so far has simply pulled back after making an approximate double top. We're still trending and we're still keeping our 20 period MA as a guide. We see that the reaction was quite strong yesterday off of this MA. From an intraday session, you can see that we simply had a recovery off of that low. And our other major sector with the XLK holding near the highs, not necessarily breaking out or breaking down, but remaining in balance. And this has been, for a large part, due to some of the bullish activity with Apple. We're seeing continuation with Apple after multiple, I would say, expressions of strength throughout the come from. We're seeing these large breakout patterns, continuation, even in weak intraday sessions, still making higher highs, and then yesterday's session seeing another extension with much more clarity in the volume. But that has been met with our second strongest stock, our second heavily weighted stock in the tech sector, and that's Microsoft. Not necessarily weak, but not seeing the same bullish activity in the past couple of sessions, ultimately pulling back to its trendline support. You can see the respect that it's had on the 20, and we'll be watching this to see if this is a launch point for a new swing high. So all this put together, we have a market that closed relatively flat overall, although intraday we did have some interesting patterns to review. We see that the market actually did sell into the morning. We had a bit of sideways action as we formed a double bottom, and then we got a bit of an extension before the afternoon close, which closed a bit weak overall. And as we review the effect of that on our balance region, the fact that the SPY has been in this elevated position on the chart for a couple of sessions, we note that bears are actually starting to break down, especially in this early pre-market session, our previous range lows. So as we move forward, and as the market has not had a bit of consolidation yet in about 10 sessions, we want to note that we are seeing posturing for bears to continue pulling back this market. Now, I would say that 450 would need to break a bit more clearly. And obviously with volume profile, we could see not only the size of this balance zone, the fact that our volume shelf here is pronounced, but if we are to crack 450, we have another volume shelf in a previous balance zone around 447.75. So these are some spots for the market to ultimately be drawn towards if we get range breakdown. And while that may look bearish in the 1 hour, that simply leads us to daily consolidation and a pullback to our normal 20 period moving average, depending on the strength of the drawdown in the SPY. And of course, if it happens. The NASDAQ still postured quite strong near its balance zone. We're seeing that the market has yet to pull back and ultimately closing near the highs. Same approach, we want to look shorter time frame and simply see that we are keeping our bullish posture near longer term channel resistance. And the idea here is that if we do get extension away from this larger channel, then that can lead to sort of a buying climax approach where the market extends quite aggressively. The trend ultimately gets more slanted to the upside, and that can often lead to higher volatility if a selling event does occur. The idea is that the structure here becomes bullish as we make the move, but on any downside activity, the lack of definite structure and the lack of balance makes for support zones to be weak overall, as a lot of those market participants are momentum driven as opposed to medium to long term time frame driven. Ultimately, those participants are going to be closer to pullback lows as opposed to chasing momentum. And that is the posture of the Qs for now until we get more information. The IWM ultimately achieving a near-term resistance point after an impressive recovery from low to high. Our trading range remains intact. And the reason we want to clarify this particular resistance level, it is the first reactionary high that occurred back in February before we had significant fall through in our trend. We note that the IWM was trending prior. We had a larger selling event setting a range low, and then everything beyond that has been testing either this high or this low, noting that our most recent test had the 200 period as a support zone as well. So everything in regards to what we're seeing kind of indicates that there may be some posturing back into small caps. We've certainly seen short-term, I would say, overall accumulation given the rise in price. But as we are long-term still within this trading range, we want to simply respect the fact that a lot of these larger moves from low to high have been met with pressure to the upside. Ultimately, the bond market may act as a guide, as if we do see rising interest rates moving forward, that may provide a catalyst for small caps to outperform in that time frame. And ultimately, if bonds are to continue to sell, the NASDAQ has often been the not the benefactor, but the opposite of benefactor, the one taking the headwind risk, with the likes of larger market cap names not seeing the same selling pressure as of late. So, quick review of what that looked like on yesterday's session. I did not take a screenshot of the advanced decline. Excuse me. But often we can use a heat map just to get a sense of the relative strength and weakness across some of our indices, and also noting which sectors provided a bit of drag as opposed to which ones kept the market healthy. Given that the NASDAQ was one of our leading indices yesterday, we note that a lot of the strength came from larger market cap names. The likes of Tesla and Facebook with a lot of relative strength on the session, along with Apple. But we even saw some upside activity in Amazon, Google, and some of our smaller names, albeit their performance was significantly higher than our larger market caps. We had the China stocks like PDD and JD performing. We had mRNA continuing on a second day continuation play. And then Netflix, which actually broke to a new all-time high. We'll look at that shortly and just see that we are breaking out of our overall range. And what that can look like on the weekly is this well-defined breakout above swing highs. So while the NASDAQ has these larger market cap names to provide the upper strength, if we switch to the S&P, bit more of a mixed bag. Obviously, the exposure here is still in these larger market cap names, but given that the S&P is a bit more diversified in which sectors hold relative market cap weight, there was a bit more pressure given what we are seeing with industrials and financials underperforming on the session. It's also worth noting that even though the healthcare sector did pull back overall, there was a lot of relative weakness across all of the key names in that particular sector. And then with staples underperforming as well, we simply had notable names standing out and providing for poor overall breadth in the market. One way to see that poor breadth is to simply switch to a equal weight ETF, something like RSP. This is equal weight for the S&P 500. We were looking at the 100 heat map shortly, just a moment ago. And just noting that the drawdown in this ETF is larger than the overall market because ultimately the breadth was quite poor yesterday. We're also seeing heavier selling in this due to the fact that the downside capital that was being sold was significant, with the upside capital being focused mostly on those larger market cap names. So we want to carry this idea forward and reviewing the QQ equal weight as well, noting that while elevated and while postured more bearish than the QQQ, those larger market cap names have been holding overall, And until we see those maybe give us a reason to consider a downside move, they will continue to be sort of standouts across the market. So, last but not least, we haven't looked at the VIX in a few sessions. Just worth noting that we did have an upside move in the VIX yesterday. We're coming off of a previous pullback low. It's also worth noting that we've seen this structure before, where previous lows have started to become higher lows. That's off of these larger spikes in the VIX. That period occurred, I believe, right here, and we started to see a bit of a rise off of some lows. The spikes weren't as significant, and that led to a final sort of fear-based move in the market. So as we move forward, the VIX may simply start to trade between our recent spike high and these higher lows as the market ultimately consolidates here. But fear not necessarily evident overall, hedging not necessarily evident outside of an elevated skew. Our skew index still reading in the upper 160s, or sorry, lower 160s, some of the highest readings we've ever seen. But market continues to sort of chug along, noting that the larger market caps are the ones carrying us forward. So our other fear-based index, something like the dollar, we noted that the dollar had a lot of downside after our false breakout, but past couple of sessions, we have seen a rise in the dollar. So keeping all this in mind, market obviously has been shrugging off a lot of risk. We note that the dollar short term had a failed breakout. Longer term is somewhat trapped within a trading range, and ultimately the entire posture of the dollar in a relative downtrend. So keeping this in mind, seeing if we get larger reactions, and then positioning accordingly based on the information. All right, so all this said, overall market, bit calm. We have a pretty, I would say, lackluster gappers list, unless that has changed in the past couple of minutes. The likes of some of our high flyers are starting to show back up. Be Big is the other one, but support.com giving back about 65% of its gains from high to low. And we're seeing potential for a bit of short-term recovery. We note that yesterday's session did have a decent bounce. And as we're coming into something as simple as the 20 on the daily, along with the completion of a gap fill on yesterday's session, we can see new demand start to recover, ultimately looking for a lower low in the overall market. Now, with Be Big as well, this one's postured a bit more bullish, but overall wanting to kind of keep the uptrend for the bulls. We're seeing a bit of bullish activity in the pre-market as well, and we have our notable previous high along with this reactionary high, which has already been tested, but ultimately a breakout here above 10 and holding 10 can lead to additional upside. The stock showing a lot of resistance here. So today may be a day for bulls to prove it and ultimately to break out and expand this range for the first time. All right, so outside of the equities market, we obviously have different conversations going on for the crypto market. Now, when we shift into this conversation, I just want to sort of preface that yesterday had a lot of news aspects to what was occurring specifically in Bitcoin. We had aspects of El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as a form of currency. We also had a lot of information about the SEC looking into some of Coinbase's new offerings for things like staking or using your crypto to basically earn, percentages year over year, and whether that's paid out in USD or other coins is up for the individual. But there certainly was a lot of negative combined with potentially long-term positive news going on yesterday. And when we look at our technical review, something that sort of clarifies the noise of what's going on in the world, we noted that Bitcoin has been in a relatively strong daily uptrend for a period of a couple of months. We saw the recovery from 30,000, pullbacks to set trends, pullbacks to trend leading to higher highs. And we noted that as Bitcoin consolidated here, we had a final extension, albeit below our previous trend line. We sort of traded through our trend, consolidation over time as opposed to over price. And then we got our final extension to approximately, I believe, 52.8, 52.9. We'll just call it 53. It was our highest print. Now, given that we are not at all-time highs, we want to note that we do have weekly swing lows that could have acted as resistance. We have this orange line, which was a previous crash swing low. The high to low here was a notable drop of approximately 20%. Get it to lock on correctly. It's giving me some trouble. We'll just say 20% as I can't get the tool to respond well. That is, of course, the setting of, whether something is a pullback, a correction, or a crash is kind of based on percentages from high to low. That's sort of entering briefly into bear territory or bear market territory with that type of correction. We also note that this low came into a bounce, but that bounce led into a new low, a low that closed below previous, at least on the daily. And that, of course, marked a more significant resistance point as that low had not been tested before making a new high above previous lows. So the structure here was we had minor resistance, something that had already been tested and closed below, but still a possible zone of weakness on the uptrend. And we also had major resistance, something that had already been cleared, but ultimately, from a technical perspective, is a stronger level. Of course, our crash and the fact that we also had a notable range high that had not been adequately tested. The idea here is pretty straightforward, but when you're leaving a range, especially as large of a range as what we had in Bitcoin, testing this high, the fact that 42.9, I'll just call it 43 for conversation's sake, the first bounce off of a crash often sets a range for a long period of time. You'll note that the price never really expanded above this level until we had our recent breakouts back in August. Price simply traded above 30,000, a couple of test candles below, and below 42.9 or 43, setting our range high. The issue with the fact that we hadn't properly tested this is we didn't really have enough extension away from the range before price was able to tag 42.9, 43. Ultimately, the price moved through our range, pulled back to it, but we didn't have a large range extension, something to the likes of the previous pullback. You want to see a range approximately the same width or length as this range, extending away and then pulling back for sort of healthy confirmation that the range has been fully tested. And based on yesterday's action, we had a lot of leverage moving into this market, a lot of people calling for new all-time highs, and ultimately a lot of over leverage with how Some of these exchanges allow for traders to buy in. We're talking 50 times, 100 times leverage. So, with $500, you can own a Bitcoin if you're on 100 times leverage. That all can coincide into larger sell-offs like these whenever we have that cascading effect. Really, it's a bunch of dominoes set up to where as one set of stops gets hit, we see additional selling pressure. If that continues, we can hit additional stops, margin calls, and that over leverage starts to unwind. And as we get extreme being what we saw yesterday, as a lot of functionality and ability to access accounts started to fail, saw lots of connection issues, lack of login, and even orders not getting filled, even if submitted as market. The extreme becomes capitulated, and we get the final low that's set for our crash. Now, moving forward, we kind of have to ask ourselves that the fact that we did test 42.9 very clearly, and that set a very major low, is not surprising for us as technical traders. Ultimately, 47 was a stopping point on the crash, but due to the over leverage, we collapsed through 47 back to our 43 range support. And this can provide the type of test that was expected before we had the breakout in Bitcoin. Additionally, if we are to trade in this range moving forward, we want to apply the same techniques, even though this range is smaller overall, but those same techniques were beneficial throughout the consolidation of the crash lows from 30,000. The idea here is that where is our highest price point after the crash? That is going to be this candle here, which is approximately 47.8, 47.9. Moving forward, we're going to want to mark this as a possible range high. And the market can trade in this area for a long period of time, equivalent to weeks or months, depending on how we move forward. We also want to note that this is the first major weekly consolidation that we've seen. We can easily start to draw down into this low end range, provide a bit of basing support near our 20 period on the weekly, and set up for a posture of continuation once we start to break out of 47.8 or the high of that reactionary high. So that is where we are with Bitcoin. There was a lot of leverage in the space. It provided the conditions for this crash, regardless of the cause of the crash. The effect is that a lot of over-leveraged longs got liquidated yesterday. And that was seen across strong names in the alt space, the likes of Solana, one of our strongest names. The bounce, of course, seeing much more upside, much more potential opportunity, as this bounce had approximately a 53% range from low to high. And we also saw it in stocks that were strong, but haven't had the same reactionary bounce. Still lots of potential from low to high, but the posturing has gotten a bit indicative of possible weakness moving forward. The risk of losing this low in something like Cardano is evident by the fact that we were unable to recover even after a strong breakout of previous highs. And then finally, any laggard coins that were out there starting to break out. These are sort of the dash to trash, or laggards lead the correction. The idea that you have the dominant forces first, you have stronger alternative coins leading second and often performing better than the dominant force. And then finally, the last phase, which is often the laggards setting major highs across the entire industry or space. These are often the more risky, uh, investments or trades, and often these are uh, seen near the end of a cycle. The likes of Litecoin, or even something, regardless of your opinion, in something like Doge, these, of course, crashing in the same fashion, but their recovery much weaker overall as they are laggard coins as a whole. Let's pull up LTC USD as well. So this is where we are in the crypto space. We want to respect the fact that these lows and highs have been set. We are back within conditions that we saw just a couple of months back, where May crash set a trading range, and we can stay within here as the market ultimately recovers or decides the next phase of movement moving forward. Obviously, the speed at which that range is completed, which we break out higher or lower, along with the sentiment shift that may occur after this flash crash that we saw, that will dictate moving forward what our next sort of transition and move in this space should be. So, all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Lots of information yesterday, different markets giving us different signs. I would say that with bonds down, if they continue, and with our dollar strength, that is also providing a bit of interesting positive and negative effects on the cryptos. Obviously, dollar strength not good for cryptos as a whole, but bond weakness and rising interest rates may be something to reevaluate, as the cryptos are often perceived as a more risk-on asset. And with bonds down, that money flow could ultimately come back into a more speculative asset like a crypto, like the cryptocurrencies. So, all that said, we'll talk more tomorrow. Trade safe today. Bit of a lackluster gappers list, but there are a few things standing out across the board. And ultimately, look at what was strong yesterday as we are entering a short week. The posturing here may be that those have some continuation into today, the likes of Tesla being one of the notable ones this morning. So we'll talk more tomorrow and see y'all soon.
Hey, good morning, buddy. How's it going?
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome, man. Just sitting here watching. Got some stuff moving this morning in the low float sector. B big and specifically has been on a tear since about 8:15. So got some fun stuff going on there. Hey, everybody in YouTube land out there in the chat. Everybody, how's it going? How did everybody's day go yesterday? Morning, gentlemen and ladies. How are you doing today, good sir?
I'm all right. I'm a little tired, man. I had a presentation for PCT last night, and these weeks when we start up a boot camp are insanely busy for me. So
right on.
I look like I didn't even realize how I look like I've been sleeping in a gutter or something. I don't know, but I'll catch up on some sleep and be back to normal here soon.
That's right. No, it just looks like it's
hair's
a little cold out, which, it was a little cold here this morning.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, 70 degrees.
Yeah, it's 70 degrees. It's chilly. Well, when you take your kid to school on a golf cart and it goes 30 miles an hour, it gets cold at 70.
No, exactly. Yeah, I kind of do the same thing when I roll them up to the bus stop, actually. Same way there.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey everybody out there. So we were talking about, we've got a little bit of stuff on the gappers today that's actually moving around. We do have some stuff on the gap down that has some higher size, some path I was looking at earlier. That's certainly interesting. But Be Big has a lot of volume coming in on it today, and has been moving up very nicely. Let's see here. There we go. So you can see Be Big on the day already starting to gap a bit and move up, and I'll use my daily chart here. But if you come into a 1 minute chart, you can see here that Be Big starting around like 8:10 already got going. We had quite a few members in the chat room that were paying attention to this one and had a little bit of fun with it, I think. So, kudos for everyone who got into it. I sat back and watched it. I thought about actually taking a pre-market trade on this one because it looked so good. But then I was like, yeah, running the pre-market show while trying to do this, I don't think so. So yesterday on our list, we did have some stocks that moved around a bit. IRNT was gapped up. We talked about it having a big drawdown and closing that gap that it had made, and it certainly did that. Match ended up being very lackluster of a trade, while others like AMC put in some strong bullish candles, and BABA kind of laid flat. From the room, we had grabbed yesterday Space, which Space is very interesting. You can't see that on here, but on my daily, Space finds itself right at S3 cam on the daily, and is holding there. So I'm actually going to watch Space today. I want to see if we're bottoming out here on the daily level. I like the big volume indecision and then the low volume push. So we'll see how that goes. Other ones like mRNA made a really strong push yesterday. So we definitely had, some pretty good stuff moving around. What do you think, Norm? Anything interesting going on in there today?
I mean, we're relatively flat. We had that bit of a sell-off yesterday. Today, as far as economic data, I'm big. Look at me, taking up the whole screen. Do you have there you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, we've got job openings at 10, beige book at 2. Other than that, not a whole lot else going on. We'll see how things play out as a short week with 4 trading days instead of 5. The SPY's pulled back just a little bit down to your moving average. I'm guessing that's a slightly different chart than it's right at the 9 on the daily.
Yeah, we got 9 on the daily here.
Yeah, so we'll see where we end up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I hear you on that one. SPY, we've been kind of talking about this, the way the SPY has been kind of doing this low volume push, and it's kind of the way it seems to look before it tends to drop. And lately, and I got this off of Jared's, I don't have it on this chart here, but basically the 50 SMA comes up and touches right at the bottom of most of these dramatic pullbacks. So we kind of have that similar look that the SPY has been doing for really the past half a year. We do about a month, just kind of pushing up very gently. Then we do a big drop and then kind of same over and over and over again. It'll be really interesting to see how the SPY reacts today to that. I think what you're saying, though, is needs to be attended to. It's a short week. So is anyone going to get really too excited here and start blasting this thing off into the rest of the week? Who knows? All right, so let's hit a few things on the list. Let me go ahead and clear this for now. And what I will do is I'll make a quick run through the gappers, and then we will grab a couple from the room that people are interested in watching. First on the board, as we talked about before, is Be Big. Be Big has been on a bit of a rally in the morning. Jared was kind of talking about Be Big during Engineering the Markets. It is attempting to break out and make new highs. So that is pretty interesting. Any new news on Be Big, Norm, or is it just kind of continuing what it's
We've
had
got
going
some
on?
ongoing stuff. It got a little meme attention.
Mm.
They did announce their proxy this morning, and just a general corporate update, which is all kind of rolled into that, and which includes a little bit of acquisition news. So,
I mean, the short float on Be Big is fairly high, right? TI for me has it at 21%. So I definitely could be getting those WSB folks a little excited on this one, maybe.
yeah, I mean the short float, Trade Idea still has it at 56%, which my guess is that data is a little bit older than your
Mm,
short float. I don't know why mine is different than yours. That's very strange. It's the same computer program throwing out two different
yeah,
short float person. Oh no, you know what? I'm looking
awesome.
at I'm looking at the wrong one. Sport, 21%. You're right. So
Mm,
it's a little bit high.
yeah.
I told you I'm tired, man. I'm not on
Hey, no
top of
worries,
my
brother.
game as I usually am. So yeah, a little bit elevated there. A little meme attention. So.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense. I think SPRT probably has got a little bit of that attention going on too.
Yeah.
But I mean, short float on this one comes in for me at 55%. That's
Yep.
that's pretty toasty.
That's extremely elevated. The one thing I'll say there is that number is pretty old at this point. Um, so it's my guess is it's less than that. In a few
Yeah,
days, we'll get fresh data that'll
I hope.
probably reflect that. But
It does find itself in a really interesting place on the yesterday. So on the charts, I think yesterday's high is going to be a really fun level to watch. We'll definitely take a look at Be Big and SPRT today. They're obviously in play, whether they fit your style or not. Well, I'll leave that up to you all as individuals, but we got enough people in the room taking an eye on it that I'll throw it on there. All right, let's pop over to the Gappers Down list. We've got a few names on here, including Neo and XPEV, Catapult, Path. I mean, we got some interesting things going. I was reading an article on UiPath. They were talking about a big gap down after earnings, and I always find that so interesting when they do these. Is that all we got going on Path
yeah, they had
today?
earnings last night.
Yeah. Pre-market volume not fantastic. So I don't know how hold on. I don't know how this thing trades. Ooh, I don't know if I love how this thing trades during the day, but maybe if it's in Catalyst it'll wake up if we get some order flow on it or something, but right now we might.
Yeah, order like you said, order flow on this one is a little sparse. That would need to pick up for me to consider it, and there are some serious gaps on the level two as you look
Mhm.
down through the bids and asks. So it's got a little bit of a spread. Just
Mhm.
there's the order flow is sparse, man.
Well, and that's a really
Um,
good point. A lot of you guys, as you're doing your morning analysis on picking your stocks, it's not just what the spread is at the moment. It's, we got the level two and it's super handy and you can scroll down like Norm was just talking about and you look for gaps in the level two. Like you may see 1 cent, 2 cent here, look down, you see 30 cent, right? And you want to pay attention to that because you're going to go in feeling really good about a stock and all of a sudden it just rips away from you and, or against you and you don't even know what happened. So, let's pop over to Option Care Health. Pre-market looks atrocious. It looks like it was pressing on really low volume for a while, then it drops. I'm not a huge fan of the daily on this one. And
it's terrible, man. It's
yeah,
on news of it's a secondary. That's the catalyst for the drop, and the pre market looks horrendous.
yeah. I will probably just pass on this one in general, but if someone wants me to look at it later, you can call it out as a part of the thing. PHM just butted in front of Coin here, so we'll go ahead and take a look at them. Pulte Group gapped down. Who's Pulte Group? That sounds familiar.
Home builder.
Home builder. That's why. All right, yeah, they're working in a neighborhood right down the road. So they find themselves definitely gapping down, trying to break below this very large consolidation range. That is interesting. What is not interesting is the pre-market. This is not something I can work with at this time. I like the catalyst and the price, but spread and order flow not great. What do
Tell
they
you,
got going on?
in general, well, they just came out with a business update, and on top of that, there were some housing sales, mortgage news that came out
Mm,
fairly weak for the last week or so. But they're really getting hit on their guidance for the current quarter and rest of the year that they just released, and a lot of supply chain issues, which I know a lot of people in home building, and that's hitting everywhere.
yeah,
I will say this in general. Speaking of home builders, they aren't usually the best intraday trading stocks.
agreed. Yeah, anytime I've looked at Lennar or any of those ones, they haven't generically provided fantastic opportunities. And down here, I'm sure it's probably similar over in your neck of the woods. And like around here, they are building so many houses in Florida over near where I live. It's just insane, and you just gotta wonder where are they getting all the stuff to make these things. I mean,
Yeah.
so I can definitely imagine that there's starting to be some pretty serious holdups. So let's see here. Coin here, which is Coinbase Global. Pre-market action, not in any kind of good flow. A little bit more volume than maybe some of the others, but not fantastic. Solid float. Finds itself gapping down after a decent sell yesterday, and now moving down. What's Coinbase doing? Is that like a Bitcoin deal? I forget on them.
Yeah, yes, it's crypto
Okay.
exchange, but I will. The news is the SEC is looking to possibly file suit on them for some lending,
Mm.
crypto lending, and things of that nature. So that's why they're down this morning. Not my favorite one to trade here either.
Yeah, I'll come back and look at that one. That I love. I like any catalyst that really directly hits it, like a financial or something like that. So that might be worth seeing. If any of the crypto stuff plays, I might even look at that one, but probably
Yeah.
not. But maybe. Bit Mining Limited. Really crazy day. A few days, like 3 or 4 sessions ago. Big volume, then big volume indecision, and then it has just died. And is not doing nothing. Really don't like the pre-market. I don't even know if you can call that a pre-market. Daily looks very, very confusing, and the volume has dropped off to nothing. So I'm not sure I would put any attention on this one. Anything
No,
worthwhile here on BTCM?
definitely not worthwhile.
Right on. CLOV was one of the others that were moving. I don't know if this one's a meme target or not on this
Meme.
one too. Yeah. Okay. The volume yesterday was tremendous. We had quite a few traders in the room. Not me, but quite a few traders took some serious advantage of this. And now we find Clove drawing back, giving back a little bit. But this one could be worth taking a look at as well. I have traded CLOV before and had some good times. I just wasn't paying attention to it at all yesterday, but look at that thing go. Good stuff. Anything notable on Clove other than the meme deal?
Just no, just the meme situation.
Right on. I'm going to do a quick flip back to, because Fubo just popped up, so something's going on. All right, so we got volume on Fubo just came in here at 8:45. And woke this stock up, and now it finds itself popping up above VWAP. So we got something fresh happening with them, or they just woke
Yeah,
up.
they just announced a deal with the with the Jets for a multi-year partnership with their
Cool.
sports betting situation. So
Cool. I'm ready. Let's do this. I got my hat on. I'm ready for some football. Let's go. So that's cool. Awesome. I love the betting stuff. So Fubo might be worth looking at. It'll be interesting to see how the order flow holds up. Sometimes this stuff happens. It gets like a quick pop as people buy in a little bit, and then it stagnates. But I mean, that's quite nice all the way up to R4. So Fubo is it butted up onto the gappers, and it might be getting ahead on my list as well. Yeah, Wall, give me a call out on that one when we pick some stocks in a second. I'll take a look at it. That'd be fun. I like DKNG when it plays. CPNG, pre-market action, not fantastic. Daily chart, interesting. Solid and bullish engulfing candle yesterday, giving a little bit back today. Anything notable with, what is this, Coupang Inc.?
yeah, this one popped up in the gappers list a while back. I have not spent a ton of time looking at this. It traded terribly back in the day, so I don't know what it's going to do at this point. But
All right, we'll have to keep that in mind when we look at it. Yeah, I don't like the pre-market at all either. So right now, I don't know if I'm feeling it, but we've got some other stuff moving around, so I'm sure we'll have other things to focus on. I don't like that one. All right, BTCM, bit mining. Oh, we already hit you.
we already looked at that.
It moved. Where did you go? IRNT. IRNT had a wild day yesterday. Today the pre-market action seems to be a little lackluster. But yesterday this thing found itself gapping, kind of like after hours and then through the pre-market and then had just a big sell-off all day. And you can see that here on the daily. We opened way up here and we filled this gap, which we had talked a lot about. Right now, I'm not seeing volume in the pre-market, not enough. So this might just be a one and done. Sometimes these stocks like IRNT, IronNet, just kind of have like a one and done kind of day. They have a big volume explosion, and then it just kind of settles. So, but it might be worth looking at if some volume comes in. But right now, I'm not really into it. And then last on our gap down list is NEO. I have had quite a few fun days trading my good buddy NEO here. So finds itself with some volume in the pre-market, kind of holding up now. But NEO has been kind of making this bounce on the daily here. It just came down and retested value, now trying to make new highs. So NEO is going to be something I'm going to watch. Anything notable on NEO?
They just announced a $2 billion secondary offering.
Okay, that'll be interesting. I normally don't play offerings because I
no, they're usually pretty crappy catalysts, but NEO might be a decent one.
Yeah, NEO might work though because it can be a really good trader. So we'll just have to be careful with it, knowing what kind of catalyst it is. All right, cool. 8:50. Let's go ahead out to the room and to the tube. I'm already seeing Tesla getting thrown out there. So I'll put on Tesla. I've already got DKNG that got called, so I can do that. Tesla, we got DKNG coming out of the room. We got Tesla out of YouTube. Let's see. You want Space and AMC. All right, we can do those. Those are 4. Let's see if we go into those. Let's see how long it takes, and then we can pop over. We can get a little bit of our stuff done, our little housekeeping, and then we'll go on to get some levels. All right, so first we got Tesla. So Tesla was a really nice stock, traded pretty well yesterday. Hold on, let me get my data. I keep forgetting to update this chart. So Tesla yesterday had a really nice opening rally and went straight up to 760. Took it about an hour to get there. And it was an absolute. If you had the wherewithal to go long on Tesla on this R4 breakout we were talking about yesterday, then you made money on Tesla, and good for you. Today we find ourselves already moving up towards R4 again, moving with some purpose. Had some volume come in, and we're already breaking out a bit on the daily. So I mean, Tesla definitely looks fun for the play. The only thing I'm going to be careful about on Tesla is I want to see where it's going to react around R4, which is a bit away. Our pivots are much wider on Tesla today. So maybe we rally up a bit more, maybe up to around this 765 area, and then maybe sell down a bit. Just it'll depend on the market. If NEO bounces and then the rest of the market goes like really strong and really moves around a bit, we're probably going to have some fun with those. DKNG, I like the daily on DKNG. I like how we broke out from this ascending triangle wedge pattern here and had nice volume on the breakout. So that looks good. We're lacking some pre-market volume, which is not unusual. But with the news of what's going on with Fubo, might be enough to help kick DKNG a little bit. Sometimes these guys get a little bit going because they're kind of a similar sector, if you will.
Hey Thor, can you do me a favor, bud?
Yeah, you got it.
I apologize. Can we do announcements real quick and you come back to this? I'm gonna have to run. There's a massive storm. My wife just took a walk with the neighbor. She's like 4 miles away.
Oh, I got
and there's lightning like crazy on the way, so I'm gonna have to run and grab her in the truck.
Yeah. Let me
Let's
spool it up.
get through this real quick. Sorry, guys.
Coming at
And
you.
then you
We're
can
gonna go
go
over to
back through
Norm
that
with some
mess.
community events, and then we'll just do stuff and levels.
All
All
right,
you, brother.
Kyle's book map recording should be up very soon if it's not already in the next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Note the special time. Eamon's going to be doing a presentation on the Success webinar about how to overcome overtrading. Tonight, I've got Krita at 5 o'clock talking about understanding your money mindset. All the super chat, super sticker revenue, and the donations from the BBT giving page on our site. Last month, they went to the Organization for Autism Research. We got just shy of $2,000 in donations. So Andrew rounded that up to 2,000, matched the 2,000, and 4,000 going to them. Any of the super chat or revenue or donations on the site are going to Cure Childhood Cancer this month in honor of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, post it on Twitter with entries and exits, and then any commentary you can have to describe the trade. Tag at Bearable Traders at MikeB_BBT and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll pick a winner each afternoon and announce it on Twitter and in the room. Then all those trades of the day are eligible for the trade of the week, which is voted on by the team over the weekend and announced on Twitter in the room on Monday. Thank you, Nathan, every morning. $5 bomb. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. The kids appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, use the promo code PREMARKET24. Just go to the homepage at bearabletraders.com. Scroll down. You'll see that test drive button. Click that. Fill it in. You'll get a 7-day membership that expires and terminates at the end of it. You do not have to do anything. It will not bill you again unless you go in and opt to become either a lifetime, not lifetime, a monthly or annual member. Also, speaking of annual, if you'd like to get an annual membership and get access to all of the stuff that we offer, use the promo code SUMMER40. It'll get you 40% off the annual Elite membership.
All right, thank you, brother. I'll take over here and run through some of that stuff. Go get that wifey, and depending on how long it takes, go get some sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Take care, guys.
All right, brother. Safe. Thanks for all you do, man, and thanks for the news and getting us all going on here. All right, y'all.
And one last thing. Carlos is supposed to be back tomorrow morning, so I can't thank you enough for filling his shoes for the last 2 weeks, which has just been absolutely amazing. I know it's, especially with everything that we've got going on, and all this production, it is a big task, and you've handled it well. So thank you very, very much.
Oh, thanks, brother. My pleasure. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it is a lot of fun to do this gig. If you guys don't appreciate how much if I didn't appreciate how much Carlos does on a daily basis, I do now. It is, you know, a lot of y'all probably don't realize, but when you're sitting in this seat, yeah, I'm running the entire production between the chat room, between YouTube, between fades and all the cuts, all the slideshow changes where you see Norm talking and all those slideshow changes, you know, behind the curtain. That's all being manually done by normally Carlos and now myself. So, but I wanted to make sure that, and I think we all at Bear Bull wanted to make sure that when Carlos had his baby, that he did not have to worry about what was going on here. That is his baby. The pre-market show is going to be well tended to, and so that's what we're doing. So here we go. Yeah, and then seeing I'll be a lot more active back in the chat room starting tomorrow, especially. Because for me, sometimes on some of the days, like yesterday, especially after the pre-market show was done, I was so burned out. I took 2 trades. I got 1 trade on Apple, and it was just a big long run on Apple, and I was done. And I went to bed. Anyway, so let's I'll be here at 1 o'clock always, my brother. I wasn't yesterday because it was my daughter's IEP meeting at her special needs school. We had to go do her IEP and get her all set up for the rest of the school year, get her put in. For all of you in YouTube who don't know me as well, my daughter Allie has autism. She goes to an autism school here in North Florida. That's why it was so joyful for me to see all the amazing fundraising that y'all did last month for autism. We're going to end up donating $4,000 to the Organization for Autism Research, so which is just absolutely fantastic. It's very humbling and touching to be a part of this. This organization, both on YouTube with all of you all out there, our extended family, and then the BBT family here in the chat room. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit one or two more stocks and look into that, and then we will come back out and I'll throw some levels down, and then we will come back out to the room in the tube if we have some time, and we'll get a few more things, and then we'll have, Andrew and Brian should be here around 9:15, 9:20, somewhere in there to finalize their lists and to do some live trading for you all. So, and I agree, Oso. So let's see here. First off, I'm going to pop up to, or down to B Big. B Big finds itself kind of held up here just under 1130. One thing that I'm noticing on B Big is this press, and on my tape, I am seeing plenty of large orders to the top side all the way through 1150. And with the low volume retracement and not a climactic volume bar on B Big, I don't think we're done advancing as of yet. The high short float on B Big of, something upwards of 20%. Is very enticing, and this thing is being targeted by WSB for a gamma squeeze, I believe. So this one will be interesting since we really don't have any major levels to keep an eye on with this one, since we're extending out. The main ones I would be focusing on obviously would be a new high on the pre-market. That certainly would be interesting. If it starts to sell off, I'm going to watch it come back to VWAP. If it does a more exaggerated sell-off, then I'd like to see it come right back to around $10. Which would find us somewhere right around here. You can see it's the top of this candle here. It's just above here. We've already had a back test to there in the morning. So basically pre-market low to pre-market high are the two main levels we're going to play. If you're a little more aggressive, you may be able to play the loss of VWAP if we lose, or the retest of VWAP if we test and hold. You got to be pretty good at your VPA analysis if you're going to pull that, because you need to see it and you need to watch the time in sales and time that one correctly. Otherwise, use the breaks. Those are a lot easier to play. So like I said, pre-market high, pre-market low, and worst case scenario, if you're looking for one more, that consolidation level below VWAP right there. All right, over to SPRT. I'll knock out the low floats first. You can see here we've been pushing a bit here on SPRT in the morning. We have had, I'll hit Clove next for sure. We've had a little bit of a drawdown here since during 9 o'clock. I do want to point out, if you look at the 1 minute chart that we have on up here, that support has gone up through R3 and is now starting to pull back. We had a pretty good amount of volume as we came up into here as well, and then a low volume rise. So that actually looks like a top on SPRT, at least for the short term. So with it being under VWAP now, I would actually be looking for SPRT to draw back all the way down to probably somewhere around S3. So I'm actually going to be looking for SPRT to be a short for at least probably the first half an hour after the open, to what will likely be somewhere around $19, maybe a little bit lower. If it ends up coming down into this area right above $20 where we got our volume to come in before, that'll be the other area I'm going to watch, which is basically the top of the TFL here at 8 o'clock. You can see our volume came in when we broke that level right there. So if we draw down, I will watch around $20 to see if we hold. We could bottom there. But normally once you push through on high volume like this, you get a much more exaggerated sell than that, which would be very interesting. That would have it come all the way back down into the lower part of yesterday's candle if that happened. All right, over to Clove. CLOV. Speaking of S3, CLOV in the pre-market came right to S3, touched it a couple of times, and then the volume came in, boom. We find ourselves exploding off of this one. I believe CLOV also is in squeeze territory. It has gone off the gap, or let me grab it here. I don't have short float info on this one, but it's a big float on this one, and it finds itself really already getting some volume in and pushing. So CLOV, if it continues this squeeze that it had, or this big bullish engulfing that it had yesterday, kind of similar to a 3-bar play, I'm going to be watching the yesterday's high, and then also the king of levels yesterday's close. These are going to be two really big levels here. I would expect to move up into above yesterday's close and consolidate there to then break yesterday's high if we're going to go long. But right now you have a strong push into that level and a rejection. So don't just assume because we popped up here that we're immediately a long. We can sell down here if we reject the central range. So we'll have to keep an eye on CLOV and see how the volume comes in over time. But we stalled out a bit and definitely had some participation come in. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, popping up to some of our other ones. We had Fubo has some news of a new deal signed with, I believe it's the Jets, if I recall, to be their number one gambling provider for online betting and stuff like that. CLOV found itself hammering yesterday on relatively low volume. And see what I talked about? So when Norm and I were doing this, remember I said sometimes you just get this initial reaction, just a real big kind of just like exaggerated reaction, and then it just stalls and nothing happens, right? This is one of the reasons I don't trade the pre-market very often unless there's a really clean and obvious catalyst. But notice that's exactly what happened. When that news came out, you had quite a few people come in here. They bought really quickly. That gave the stock a dollar elevation to $1.50 elevation really quick. And then after that, boom, volume died. Right now the stock's just consolidating and chopping here, waiting to open. So Fubo may be a play today, but the level I'm going to be paying attention to is this level that comes in around 30.50, which is my R4. R3 for Fubo was around that same level on the previous day. So I really like this area. If we can come up here and hold above 30.50 and make a new high above the that high of pre-market so far right there, I'm really going to enjoy that. Coming out to the greater charts for some levels. Obviously, we have 2 sessions ago high is going to be very interesting to watch. Just because we find if we break out from there, we're going to go challenge this candle and what happened here. Fubo at times has been worth upwards of $60 a share. So we're at about half the price, and we're sitting right at the average price paid per participant. Right, so we're going to find ourselves in a really nice area for this thing to launch, because you're going to have a lot of people that are bought in here that are going to be happy to hold as this thing presses, which should give us the ability to squeeze and move up. So we'll have to, I'll throw that on there at the end. So we'll keep an eye on Fubo. Let's look at that. If for some reason this thing stalls here and starts to draw back down, we've got some obvious spots here. We got a couple days ago's low, which kind of splits right. Actually, I'm going to move that down just a tad. Right there, we have this close of this candle here, close of this candle here, low of this candle here, and then you have value right below it, and that happens to be exactly where we back tested today. So pre-market low. So for a lot of you that aren't really adept at finding levels, just a quick mention. There are a few levels if you're a new trader that you can use for all day trading, but especially during the first 15 or a half an hour. And I call it the big 4, which is pre-market high, pre-market low, previous day's close, and the open price. Right? Jared, did an entire webinar specifically on the previous day's close as king of all levels. So if you're having trouble where you can't really get your levels marked in here, you can set programs like DOS to auto draw those levels, which is what I do. My pre-market high, my pre-market low, my previous day close, and open price all get auto drawn every single day. What that has done is that has almost removed my ability to my need. Pre-market high, pre-market low, previous day's close, so PDC, and then open price, right? Or OP. Boom. So keep those in mind if you're struggling finding levels on your own. It is good to go back and look at historical price ranges and make sure you get those highs and lows. But for intraday especially, those pre-market high, pre-market low, those will work for you in an immense amount of time. It's actually quite interesting. All right, we got Path here. UI Path, big gap down, earnings. Pre-market still not really fitting for me, not loving the spread on this thing. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. It has had a significant drop, and I actually think the earnings was a beat. So it'll be interesting to see if what happens. A very obvious area is the bottom of this candle, which happens to be the exact bottom of this candle, right, or pre-market low. So the loss of $57 would seem to be ultra critical on path. So if I was looking to play this thing short, the loss of $57 would probably be a fairly good confirmation. If it needs to pull back before it does that, I love the bottom of this range here, how we have a test here, and then these candles coming down. Let me fine tune that just a titch. Come on, snap to it. There we go. Look at that. We got a bottom test there, bottom test there. So if we start to squeeze a little bit at the open, I would look for it to come right back up here. Notice how my R1 fits right with 58.54. Let it squeeze up there. See if it throws a bunch of volume, and if it does, get short and ride it for that breakdown. You'll have to pay attention to the level too. Right now we do have orders starting to accumulate near 57, so and stack up there. So that'll definitely be something to pay attention to for path. PHM is Pulte Group. They are a housing manufacturer. They are gapping down on some not great news. And some supply chain struggles, and also that pre-market volume is horrible at best. So you would need this one to wake up before you're going to trade it. If it bounces, I'm going to look for it to come right back there. If it manages to go through and make new lows, pre-market low is going to be the spot. And then let's check out NEO. NEO has provided some decent opportunities in recent. I love how we're back testing value right now and then pushing up. I'm going to be watching NEO to make a new high above this level right there. We've got 1, 2, 3 very precise tests to the top side. So we have obviously have an iceberg seller sitting up here that's kind of holding the price in the pre-market. It's causing us to pull back. I'd love to see this come back to VWAP, which is where my R1 is, and the TFL line. I'd love to see it come back here, bounce around 39.50, hold up there, get long for a nice run up if the volume sets up appropriately. Obviously, if it comes down here and you don't get a good volume coming in push, then it actually could be a sell-off back down lower. But this one should be interesting to watch. NEO will be on my list today for sure. Into the room ones that were called out, I'm going to talk about Tesla. Tesla finds itself on a bit of a rally in the pre-market, although it seems to have topped a bit here, setting a value area at 762.50 and is now selling a bit. Level 2 actually still looks quite strong to the top side for Tesla, so I'm not really looking for this thing to draw back yet. It looks like it's still in a kind of a it's still attempting to advance in pre-market, but you know, any good solid order could change our posture there. Right now, yesterday we put ourselves in a nice push that pulled back. Today we're gapping a bit. I mean, it wouldn't have to do much more, and it might even hit our list. So the main ones I'm going to be watching for today, if we do a drawback, is I'm going to look at previous day's close. King of all levels, as Jared says, that's near our R1. If we start to sell, I'm going to look for it to come back and see if it holds that level. If it does, then I'm going to look for a push, and per most of these stocks, I'm going to look for a push through pre-market high, right? If we can manage to go through there, then that'll give us something we can start playing. We can come back out in time a little bit. We do have this move up right about here to the top of this candle here. And then we start moving up and after that level, honestly, I'd probably just start looking at psychological levels like 800, right? So I marked 801, but you get what I'm saying here. Let me tighten that up here a little bit. I don't like that. There we go, 800. So some good levels on Tesla. Tesla has been a really nice mover on the daily for really the past couple of weeks. We found this really nice, just kind of lightning bolt almost style pattern on the daily. It'll be interesting to see if we get another push. This has been staying really close to the 9. Right now we're getting a little far away from the 9. So if it does decide to sell today, I'd look for it to come back and test the top of this range right here, which is where it already back tested once before. See it come back down into here and see what happens. So DKNG, I'm going to watch DKNG probably today because DKNG is trades fairly well. And with the news, anytime gambling news comes out, like what's going on with Fubo, you will often see DKNG get a little bit of love from it. I do find DKNG a little high right now, getting away from VWAP and a little away from the averages. But I like the nice engulfing candle it made here. DKNG on the daily had this really tight wedge pattern that's set right there. We broke out of that on volume today. We find ourselves holding. If we can get some order flow to come in the morning, could be a lot of fun. Space on my daily, my S3 on my daily, which you can't see on this chart because it just makes my charts look too jumbled, comes in right here at on space. So space did this really big indecision candle here and then drew down into that level with some volume yesterday. It tested that and held it to the penny. And then pushed up and then ended up closing with an indecision. If space can hold here and make new highs, I'm especially going to be watching levels like yesterday's high, which is near the bottom of this indecision candle. If it can break into there, I would actually look for it to run the entire length of this candle. So today, space could be poised for a really nice move if the bulls come in. As a short, I actually don't think it's very viable. But if it does lose, I would look for it to lose this gap and come down towards $20. But for right now, I'm looking for it to hold here. This level being ultra critical, 23.83. If it loses there, you could sell. But if it holds and breaks up above 25, we could see ourselves put in a nice $2 or $3 move today. So why do I expect such a big move? So the reason why is I'm looking back in time at what happens when this stock goes into this range. There are certain ranges where stocks, because of volume differences, will naturally traverse faster. So you will have a consolidation range, and then you'll have what is called like a transition range, where it moves from one area to the next a little bit easier. Right? So you can see what's happened is when we bottomed here, and then in these 3 days, we moved up, up, and up, right? Then we came down, held, and then up. And then on this day, put in this big candle. So every time we press up, we're making a little bit further, right? And our candles are getting a little bit wider. So it's taking a little bit effort. This one got stuffed, though. So if this does not come to fruition, like I said, if this rolls over and breaks down through here, then you could see this thing sell down big time. Right, because we got stuffed here. We tried to make it through this range. We tried to break out, and then we had high volume that shoved us all the way back down into a narrow candle. So this does not mean we're going to reverse, but I find this pivoting area of interest because I feel like space is kind of getting into decision-making territory, where at some point someone's going to decide that they don't want to hold this or they want to hold it. Either way, something will probably happen. All right, AMC. AMC putting in an interesting, ascending pattern here on the daily. We had these 2 days both set the same high volume. We found ourselves pulled back and then yesterday we pushed on some good volume, really obvious level here to the top side, 48.21, as well as previous day's close. So that is going to be some resistance to the top side. Notice we've already opened up and we found ourselves trying to get for that level a couple of times on some lower volume. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here on AMC. But if AMC goes into play today, if it can break above 47.86, could be a party. So that's a critical level. If it holds here and rolls over, I'm going to look for it to come right back down to these levels right here, the top of these little consolidation candles below 45. All right. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and pop out to the room here, and I'm going to go ahead and pop out to the YouTube first, grab a couple of tickers from YouTube. I'm seeing Apple and Netflix. I like both of those, so I will certainly take a look at them. And then FU2U. That's not very nice. It's early in the morning. We don't need that language. Futu is coming in from the room. We already did Neo and Space. I'm going to go up to... Actually, let's go ahead and hit the moderator watch lists, and then I'll take a couple look at things. It is 9:17. Moderator watch list. Mike B. Break high of day scanner is what he's going to be paying attention to. Otherwise, he's liking Tesla, Apple, and PayPal. PayPal is going to go on the list. I've seen that one a couple of times. I want to look at PayPal. PayPal has had its days. I find PayPal interesting, though, because it always gets kind of bumped around by the Bitcoin stuff a lot because it's got a Bitcoin holding. DMA coming in with Fubo, Be Big, and Apple. See if Apple can give us another day like it did yesterday. Tiffany, Tesla, and NEO, and then Be Big as well. IPOs are none coming in from Peter. SPACs, BNNRU. John H. has the high of day break watch list. He's going to be looking at Facebook, PayPal again, and Tesla. Definitely going to be looking at some Tesla. Jared is watching SPRT and Be Big, both movers in the pre-market, NEO and Tesla. For a secondary, Fubo and CLOV, and then Microsoft if QQQ is strong. I've been paying attention to Microsoft as well. It's given a few opportunities for sure. Our own prophet of profit, Brian Pesum, he's coming in with Be Big, ANY, PHM, PATH, Path, NEO, and GANX for some fun. Oh, I like it whenever Brian's getting spicy with it. So let's see here. What's Microsoft got going on today, Wal? Acquisition? Nice. Okay, I like that. So let's take a look at Microsoft, and then we'll have Andrew and Brian should be in shortly. We'll throw them over to them as they finalize their watch lists and get rocking and rolling. For now, Microsoft. So Microsoft does seem like it's kind of topped a bit. You see it drawing down towards lower volume. But this topping pattern was not huge, right? I mean, I don't really view that as like some like massive sell. So depending on how the market takes this acquisition news, we could find Microsoft try a hold and press. So I think previous day's close is going to be a really fun level to watch. Notice we've already kind of tested that in the pre-market a bit with the top side of our candle. So if we draw down a bit, let's look for pre-market low and then see if we can make some presses and move higher. If we lose the moving average, then that'll be a little bit different. All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our gentlemen, Brian and Andrew. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome. How are you all this morning?
Hey, good morning, Thor. Good morning, everybody. Good.
Good morning, everybody. BBIG is gonna go to 12 apparently. I'm gonna share my screen, guys. People in the chat, so you can switch the channel and you can see my live screen real time. For those of you in YouTube, guys, remember that there's a little bit of delay and you can't see my screen. Alrighty. How are you, Brian, this morning?
Good, very good. Getting more rain today. Change from yesterday.
Yeah. It is, definitely.
So there's, I think there's could be some interesting action today. It's maybe just gonna have to wait a few minutes, and not seeing anything jumping out yet. Be Big does look interesting.
Be Big, the all-time high, it's not an all-time high, but the recent high on Be Big is almost 12. It touched 12. At the open, it might sell off a little bit, so it's already extended right now, but potentially could be a good opening range breakup on it. We don't have shares for short at this stage with Interactive Brokers. So
21% short.
Long is,
21% short float.
NEO had a good day yesterday, popped up, but today is gapping down.
NEO, there was some news. There was some news on the Chinese front with the EV stocks. Sales were up. That's why Tesla's moving here. But there was something. NEO's doing a secondary offering. So I think that's why their shares are down right now. So tempted to watch mRNA. I think A and Y is going to might pop here. Clove I had up from yesterday. Didn't look that interesting. We do have shares for short. I guess I'm not keen on playing meme stocks. Clove does have some interesting price action for sure. It's at a level of support. It's at S3 as well. So 1035.
Clove.
PayPal's going to go
trading.
through. PayPal's going to go through 300. Okay. Deal.
Tesla is also interesting. I like Tesla for open range breakup.
Yeah. I
Next
think
level on
PayPal's.
Tesla is 782.
Yeah, I think is going to fly. Yeah, I can see Tesla going.
Dr. Michael Berry is being squeezed. Dr. Michael Berry. Thank you so much. Megan.
Yeah, possibly rising drevels on the PHM and path. PHM, nothing is almost no volume at all, which kind of concerns me. I'm more interested in path. I might watch PayPal instead of PHM. Ooh, big drop right there.
PayPal is interesting too, near all-time high. Can't believe that everything is going up. Did you see Bitcoin yesterday? That was really funny.
Yeah,
That drop.
that was a drop.
It was a pump and dump.
Yeah, that was crazy. Maybe I'll watch. Apple's breaking out here.
Apple again. Damn it.
Yeah, I think Apple's going to go. Yeah, it's going to go to 160.
Okay. Minutes to that. BIG price action right now. It's holding right around the moving averages. Maybe if it sells off around 11, could be a good buy near the VWAP. I don't know if it will become choppy or not. So that's definitely something that no, but potential sell-off could be a good buying opportunity. I'll wait for my pattern. Even if I miss the open action on it, I think we're gonna get another one for sure.
150.
How's YouTube guys doing? SPRT, BBIG, no shares for short. Yeah, definitely no shares for short right now. I mean, the order gets accepted, but it doesn't get filled. So maybe later, IB. At least the order doesn't get rejected.
Yeah, but be careful because if you leave an order there, you may forget about it,
Yeah,
and you might come back and have it filled later, and it could work out, and maybe it won't.
yeah, for sure. I mean, now
So just be
BBIG is
careful.
coming back to VWAP. That's good.
Yeah, just be careful about leaving an order open.
So somebody on YouTube asked about BBIG has the float of about 50 million shares, but look at the volume is already 23 million shares. Because
Yeah,
volume is so heavy on it, so it moves very volatile. Even though it's not fairly low float, but like 23 million shares, even just in the pre-market, that's just enough for it to make it very volatile. It's all about supply and demand and volatility here. 50 million shares available, already half of the float is being rotated in the pre-market. So now imagine at the open how it can become more volatile. If he sells off at the open at the VWAP around 11, I buy some, but I don't have any trade book on it. Last time that it sold off, it really held 1090, around the VWAP and then popped back up. I don't know. I don't have any trade book on it, so I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. But sometimes the FOMO trade. Thor, so would you? So the large bits. I know Thor is trading based on this liquidity movement in the level 2, but I have to watch again his
watching
presentations.
Path. I think Path for a Rising Devil. Neo's selling off. Ooh, Neo's dropping here.
Let's see what Neo is doing. And Neo sold off.
Yeah. PayPal sold off.
See what BBIG is doing. Some big bids. I mean, it could be a good buying opportunity here. Again, I don't have a trade book. Otherwise, I would have bought that down there.
I'm short. I shorted Path. I'm short 56.50. Dropped. Now it's coming back.
Oh, yeah, beauty. Look at that. That's halted. Brian, look at BBIG, man. That's
Yeah, I know. I can see that.
Somebody.
Should have grabbed a little on that drop, eh?
Tesla. See what Tesla is up to.
I'm chasing it here, but I bought some. All right, I'm gonna sell here some. Okay, I'm sold.
Are you kidding me? It's just a perfect opening range breakout. Tesla is
sold.
doing some stuff.
Sold through 12. All right, Path is working here. I'm covering some
Giving a
here
long
at
on Tesla
55.
at 762. Giving a long on Tesla at 762. Getting a long on 762 on Tesla. Let's see if he can hold it through going through 764.
I'm out of B big back break even. Still Path short. We're down at S3 right now.
I tapped some Tesla at 764. I'm still looking at BBIG to see what we can do.
Yeah, I wanted to get out at the back of my break even. Okay, I'm going to cover some more Path here at 55.60 filled.
I'm all out on that Tesla. I just didn't like the price action. BBIG is getting rejected really bad. It's Sprt.
Yeah.
All out on Tesla. Neo is squeezing up. Let's see what Neo is up to. Love. BBIG was just rejecting me really bad.
Yeah.
I made $75 on Tesla. Yeah.
I think it did that before.
Yeah. BBIG?
Yeah. Neo was popping back up.
Neo. I can see Neo is squeezing. I don't dare to long it now. I'm all out on Tesla, guys. AMC also popping up. I just made $75 on Tesla. Hey.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I'm all out on Tesla. So 200 shares and
Spirit's dropping. Yeah, Tesla's dropping. SPY's dropping, guys. SPY is dropping.
Huge. AMC is gonna go green for the day. I don't like it though. Let's see what AMC's up to.
Path is squeezing now. I'm still sticking with it as long as it stays below the VWAP.
AMC's gonna go green.
Actually added back to that short on that pop.
Neo gave us a good entry at 39.10. Why am I not touching it? Clove. Do we have shares for short for
I
Clove?
don't trust Leah.
Oh yeah, we do have shares for short for Clove. Where's my mouse? Clove looks like a short. AMC is gonna go green. Keeping a short on Clove at 986, 990 CLOV.
Keep an eye on Annie. I think it looks like it might, if it can get above 630.
AMD setting off really bad.
Shit, I'm getting out of path. Getting out of the rest of it. It worked out okay. Kind of lost on that ad.
AMC. Boom. Look at the AMC. I'm short a little bit, Clove. 984. AMC at 49. Are you kidding me? I messed up today. Let's see if AMC can go for S4. Sorry, Clove go for S4. Yeah, AMC kind of.
Yeah, Neo's down again. I'm just watching Annie through the 630 level. It's probably going to go. If it can stick above it.
If Clove can test the S4, that would be nice. AMC popped up. I should have taken it.
AMC.
I should have taken AMC. I don't know, for some reason I got this performance anxiety because I missed the BBIG and I just kind of okay, so I'm covering some Clove here at 970. My average is at 986. AMC is bouncing back. AMC might give us a good entry. Taking a long on AMC at 48.72. See if you can test 49 again. AMC. Oh yeah, AMC is popping up. Let's see if AMC go to R4. I'm long AMC, guys. Selling some AMC at 49.14. It's good. Let's see if Clove can go break this S4. That would be really nice. $9.72. Still up. AMC to the moon. I missed AMC. I kind of saw it's going, but I just got this performance anxiety in a way that I wasn't sure. Anyone, Clove? S4 Clove is 973. AMC wants to go for another pop. Oh yeah, beauty on AMC. Thank you so much. 49.27. Yeah, it really rejected that. How much of the shares left on AMC? Nice, brother. No, AMC, AMC. Yeah, I'm all out on AMC, guys. For now. Yeah, I'm all out on AMC. And Clove, I have a little bit of shares Clove. Tesla.
Tesla sold off. Same with Apple. Maybe finds a bottom here. Spy the buying brigade's coming in early.
Clove. Clove. Come on, Clove.
Should have flipped my position. Should have flipped my position on Path.
Do you see Rafsila? FOMO on AMC is huge. So this Clove, I think, I don't know if I have a little bit of shares left on Clove. I don't know if he will get me on breakout stop loss or not. AMC, as you see, that was my entry, popped up to think, but it's now bouncing back. Yeah, Clove is bouncing back to my break-even point, so I'm just getting out of it. I'm all out on Clove, guys. IG. What a crazy move on the BIG. At the open, I just missed it.
Yeah.
I think he wants to go test the VWAP again now.
NEO is still looking weak. Hesitating. I'm looking to see if it's going to hold here. I'm going to take a long on NEO at 38.80. See if it holds here.
Nice pop. Boing. I think I'm good for the day, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to do any more trades. That's why I'm just kind of had a nice move on big and made some good money on Path.
I closed 3,200, and I think I'm good. I mean, why would I bother? I kind of by mistake went short AMC when I tried to cover, but I covered completely, so kind of messed up here. But I think I'm good. $3,200, $3,255. I think I put handcuff in it. No, not bad. 3,200 is like 700,000 a year. Why would I bother making another trade?
Still sticking with NEO right now. It got pretty close to where I would stop.
Yeah, if I see something really good, amazing setup, I would have taken it. I would take it, but no, definitely, I don't need to. Really, I mean that BBIG 1 minute opening range breakup really, got me like into anxiety. That's why I didn't take it. But
DKNG is DKNG. Well, Apple's still selling off. That's interesting. So maybe
AMC
found a
is
bottom
bouncing
here.
back up. I saw AMC. I don't know why I didn't take that trade. I saw a squeeze above the VWAP, and it really bothers me.
You knew it.
No, actually, I didn't know it. I saw it, but I said, is it going to be a choppy day for AMC, or is it going to really rip higher? I wish I knew it like you. Love did a really nice V reversal bounce from S4. So, we all have Thor to thank. Huge ask on 10. It's going to pop 5 cents. Huge ask on the EDGX. See, it's going through the time and sells as well. It's going to probably pop over. Neo sold off. I don't know, Brian, you're I don't know if you're long or not, but it doesn't look great.
I'm still long. Down 10 cents, and it's small size because I've already had two decent trades. So
Tesla turned out to be choppy at the open. Sold off.
it's still pretty
AMC
heavy
is
here.
doing some stuff.
I'm gonna get out of it. I'm out of Neo 65. It's S3 is 38.35. I'll just keep an eye on it. 38.35 could be interesting.
What is PLTR doing? Doing PLTR thing?
Wow, NA's breaking out here. Missed that. Dang, nimit.
FOBO is garbage. I never really liked FOBO. I don't know why people are off. NA is breaking out, yeah. I don't know why people are putting FOBO in their watch. It's never really traded nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Annie is picking up the volume too.
I'm in on that. Kind of missed it.
These levels are magic, Thor. Thank you so much. I don't know why I was trading. How did I trade without these pivot levels? What the hell I was thinking? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, see, AMC is struggling right between R4 and R4 on the daily chart.
Yeah, I can see any. I know. I missed it.
Okay, there's no position for me. I'll just need to take a quick break. I'll be back in a second. Sorry, guys.
And he is not trading that cleanly, but I'll take a long here. 654. 685. Yesterday's high. Just gonna sell some there at 660 because I just don't feel comfortable. I really chased it. That was about a C minus. This is a C minus trade. See if BBig holds this level here too, because it might be putting in a double bottom. Yeah, Tesla sold off. Apple's coming back.
Hey, what's going on, Brian?
Hey, I'm just looking at Apple right now.
I was just talking. There's a couple people talking to me in the room about DKNG, and I had a Brian I knew it moment. on DKNG. I told everybody, watch this thing sell right to S3 and then bounce long off of that thing. And I mean, it, like to the
Yeah,
penny. I mean, it's just beautiful how it rallied off of it.
that's hilarious. Yeah, both DKNG and Penn are have been strong this morning. All right, so here we go with Annie. Gonna sell some more here. Ooh, got filled 72.
Oh, nice.
And it's up at S for R4 now, so that's kind of got. I'm out of most of it.
Nice.
Yeah, that wasn't a. That was I didn't. Yeah, I didn't really. Not really proud of that trade. Didn't really wait for a setup or anything. I just really chased it. So in this case, it kind of worked out. Ooh, B big is going.
Well, when you're the prophet of profit, you just say go up, and it
You're
goes
going.
up.
Yeah,
So
you're going
they're listening to
down.
you. Which actually,
Yeah.
any still has a fair amount of supply to the top side. I mean, really big orders
Yeah.
calling it like 680, 679, all the way up
Yep.
to a real nice stack at $7. So it might try and do a quick spring for $7 first if it doesn't, tank on you right here. So that could be, it could still have a little bit more to it.
Yeah. There's there's that yesterday high, which is like I said around 685.
Yeah, totally.
So that could be a pretty significant area of resistance.
Wow, AMC is getting destroyed.
Yes, well, they came up with those numbers yesterday. They had pretty good weekend at the box office.
AMC
But
is starting off really bad. BBIG turned out to be really weak.
hmm,
We don't have to short on BBIG, do we? No.
no, it's pretty heavily short. It's about 20 some odd % short interest already.
Yeah, I tried to get short. Didn't have any. I mean, the order doesn't get rejected at least, but it's not available definitely. Neo did
Okay,
some
here we
stuff.
go. Okay, I'm just getting out of all my ANY right here. Just
Wow.
I think it's going to have some. I think it's going to reject here. There we go. This is yesterday's high. See if it pops. It might actually after this. It is definitely stalling here. No question.
You got that pop up through 685 though on any.
Yeah. I got a fill at 683. So I'm all out. Well, it might go to 7.
Yeah, that big ask at 7's calling. We'll see what happens. It looks like it
Yeah,
wants it.
yeah,
Bid's coming in too strong.
yeah. Here we go. Now it's through the yesterday's high. Maybe got one more pullback here before it makes a run.
Very nice.
Yeah, so here's the pullback.
AMC. AMC.
Neo, yeah. I'm still watching Neo. If it gets to that S3 level that Thor likes, I just got long a bit of NE again at 680, just to be part of history, to see it go through 7.
The BBIG bounced back from S1 at 1020. AMD is sitting at S4, yeah. I think AMD, we have to see how QQQ does. Baba hit the scanner. Let's stick with Baba. Oh, second Baba. Q's kind of look weak today. I did a quick short on AMC, but I just covered. I'm just not really, at this pop, I kind of shorted 47.80 and I covered quickly. I just don't, I'm not sure if this one is a short. The 5-minute chart looks like a short, but on a 1-minute chart, a squeeze was so big that I just don't want to be short in there. Not really convinced. The collapse of VWAP was really big in this candlestick, but I'm not sure if this is still a short. Might be, but it's not definitely a setup. Annie is coming back, Brian.
Yep, I know. I can see it. I'm
So I'm gonna go.
contemplating whether I should take some off here.
Oh, you still have it?
Yeah, I added back. I took another position on the pullback at 680. Here we go. So I'm going to sell some there. Yeah, 692, sold some. Hopefully it's going to go through 7.
Looks like it. I don't like the price action. I don't like the time and sells on it very much.
Yeah, I don't really like the price action on it either.
It goes like it's policy, so I don't like it. Just
yeah.
I don't like the price action, time and sells on it.
I'm out of it. I got out of the rest of it. Pretty much flat on the rest. So that was a. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't like the. It's probably going to go through 7. I just don't like the way it's trading. And I didn't like the fact that it didn't push through there. Disney's on the move here.
No highway to hell. Today might be one of those days that news just keeps going down.
I still think it bounce here at S35.
S3?
Yeah. 38, 35. Yeah.
38, 35, yeah. Yeah, it might be a good bounce around that area from S3.
Huh.
I don't know.
Joe
I might just buy
gas is
some
up
at the
again today.
Yeah, Paras, that's for sure. That for sure very weak. I try not to get the bias toward the news, Paras, because a lot of time this news, when you hear it or us we hear it, it's just a little bit too late. I'm trying to find a pattern. Like now we have this S3.
Yeah, I got long some Neo 38.44. We'll see if it. This is kind of where I was expecting it or hoping it would bounce. Oh, I'm hoping it'll bounce here. So this is where maybe Neo will do the Thor's S3 to R3 now. definitely still in a downtrend. It's definitely still using the 9 moving average as resistance. Yeah, glad I got to see. Look at any sold off. It's back at the VWAP. Might bounce off of here on any.
I don't like the time and sells on any. I really like
Yeah,
time and
just
sells on BB and AMC, not Tesla's going to go red.
Yeah. So it looks like Neo's trying to hold here.
I have handcuffs. No trade for me.
Turn your montage off.
Nothing. I'm just putting a mouth freshener. You know, that's exactly this is exactly the time of the day. And today is not a very volatile day, but there are some good opportunities that you gave all the profit back and then you're not consistent. This is the time that you can just sit down, watch some YouTube, go to Facebook, check all of your exes. That's the best time.
See what your exes are up to. Okay, come on, Neil. Come on, Neil.
Mariam, that was a good one, Mariam. Mariam says she said that I'd rather lose money to look at my exes. That was funny. Anyways, let's get back into character. Neo, like for example, I'm so tempted to buy Neo at S3. I know it's a bad idea, but if it drops around here, I'm so tempted to buy, but I know it's a bad idea. Especially it's a weaker stock. It might sell off all day. It might do a quick pop, like 10, 20 cents, but I don't know if it's worth the risk.
Yeah, it's got to hold here, otherwise
above the VWAP.
Dump out again.
BBIG is going to go back to 12, Brian.
Yeah.
BBIG is bouncing back.
Yeah, I saw that it was coming back up.
You go to Twitter, everyone is saying that, oh, we made so much money out of BBIG. FOMO is big. Clove is also holding as 4, yeah, really nicely.
Neil's still holding here.
TNA popping up.
Still don't like the look of that 9 moving average. I'm gonna get out of it, I think. Still maybe have some more downside here. Still holding.
This is BBIG Wall Street bet, so there is real news behind it. It's the NFT play, yes?
I'm not really sure. But I do know it's got a pretty high short interest, which could make it a Wall Street bets thing.
These NFTs, man, I love it. It's the biggest pump and dump.
Yeah, so is watching this or is looking at some kid who's making these stupid whale pictures. He's making a fortune posting these dumbass whale pictures.
Yeah, okay, YouTube guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And If you are interested, we had a pretty good day. I had a pretty good day, ending up 3,500, almost 3,600. If you're interested, join us, check us out. If not, see you tomorrow. So
See you
that's
tomorrow, everybody. Yeah. Who knows? Like, what the heck? What's the world coming to?